Dr. Pimple Popper has served a lot of delicious popping content over the years. While some of these pops are just pops, some other pops are probably more famous than the famed dermatologist herself. We like to think that there's a category for pops in the Guinness Book of World Records. Then these Dr. Pimple Popper pops will be featured there. Welcome to Film Time, and here are the most famous Dr. Pimple Popper pops in history. Before we move to today's content, if you liked the video, we would really appreciate it if you can click the like button. You can also subscribe to our channel for more content just like this. So, here are the most famous Dr. Pimple Popper pops in history. Number 1. Nose Cover Patient. This is one of the most popular pops on Dr. Pimple Popper. This elderly patient sought Dr. Pimple Popper's help to remove a ton of blackheads and whiteheads that have taken residence on his nose, and it's also disturbing his breathing process. The gold mine of blackheads had covered the patient's nose like a nose cover. The famed dermatologist diagnosed the patient with rhinophyma. Rhinophyma is caused by a result of increased oil production in the area of the affected area and the thickening of the skin on the nose. In other words, the patient had massive amounts of blackheads and whiteheads that Dr. Pimple Popper patiently squeezed out.
You can see how your nostrils are pretty normal here, and then it just changes right here, kind of causing them to close down a little bit, huh?
Number 2. The Grapefruit Bump. A lot of lipoma cases have been featured on Dr. Pimple Popper, and this grapefruit-sized lipoma is probably the most recognized. Even the famed dermatologist confirmed the patient's case is the biggest she's ever seen. Thanks to her show, we've seen hundreds, but this remains the most popular out of all of her lipoma cases, and she has had plenty of cases. We might never look at grapefruits the same way again, or any other lipoma.
Yeah. I said fine, and then I'll be on the floor.
I don't want you to do. See, now this is.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Number 3. The Kitchen Sink Plug Blackhead. First of all, Dr. Pimple Popper never stops putting these particular cases on the list of her most favorite pops that have been featured on the show, and the alone secured the case a spot on Famous Rank. The patient had requested Dr. Pimple Popper's help in removing a large blackhead on her back, but it wasn't the case exactly that made Dr. Pimple Popper mention the case as one of her favorites, but rather the colorful, witty chat between her patient and her patient's daughter, which was quite delightful, and we may have to agree with her.
There's, remember old school plugs, like those black plugs?
Yeah.
Number 4. The lipoma called Larry. This would have been like any other lipoma that had been featured on the case if not for the patient and his questionable desire to name his lipoma Larry. If your name is Larry, you may want to reconsider your name. Larry was positioned on the patient's chest, above vital organs like the heart and lungs. Although Dr. Pimple Popper later discovered that Larry was actually a cyst. From lipoma Larry to Larry cyst, now we know why this is one of the most popular pops on Dr. Pimple Popper.
When I squeezed it initially, it came out in 2 different directions, and that's because there were 2 little cuts in the cyst.
Number 5. Delano. A patient on Dr. Pimple Popper is quite popular because of the complex procedure of his case. Delano had been on Dr. Pimple Popper twice for a growth removal procedure. Dr. Lee diagnosed him with lymphangioma. After the first procedure, the lump came back just as Delano was getting his life back together. Eventually, Dr. Lee informed Delano that they had to refer his case to a surgeon, but Delano doesn't have that kind of money to proceed with the surgery. She later found a doctor that's willing to perform the surgery without charging anything, and we hope that they get the growth this time.
Your muscle. I'm gonna guess that they left a little areas open to allow for some more drainage. You have to have.
Number 6. Lewis Scaly Skin. This particular case isn't exactly a pop, but it is one of the most watched skin issues on Dr. Pimple Popper. The patient is an older man who not only has scaly skin, but also extremely painful scaly skin. Dr. Lee diagnosed Lewis with a condition called ichthyosis, a condition that causes the skin to thicken and form scales. Dr. Lee prescribed a wet wrap skincare regimen that improved Lewis's condition after several weeks. Lewis's case, while emotional, remains one of the most popular cases in the show's history.
Yeah, I see. Look at that.
That's a bad problem I got.
This is way beyond.
Number 7. 307 tumors. Living with a single tumor can seem like an impossible thing to do, but this particular patient had hundreds of tumors all over their body. Insane, right? Using cryotherapy, the famed dermatologist was able to remove a total of 307 tumors from the patient's body. But what makes the pop a historical one is the fact that the cryotherapy is extremely painful, and Dr. Lee has never met someone with such high tolerance for pain. We admired the patient for such tenacity. There you have it, guys, our compilation of the most famous Dr. Pimple Popper pops in history. Did you enjoy the video? Which of your favorites made the list? Let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't hesitate to click the like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content just like this. You can also turn on the notification bell to always get notified for our future posts. We hope to see you again soon. Adios.